And ready when you are.
Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today are Brian
Hey.
and Alex.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk a bit of game news before talking about Donut County, Spider-Man, and Destiny 2 Foreskin. This episode is brought to you by Surge and 7-Eleven and their delicious beverages, as well as M&M, Snickers, and Kit Kat, green tea Kit Kats.
But not really.
But not really, because we don't have sponsors other than our awesome patrons on Patreon. Speaking of which, the Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month and help us keep our shows alive and well. Check it out at patreon.com/midwestpodnet. That's MIDWESTPODNET. If you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNews.com/links. And as always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNews@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher.
Before you continue, I'm gonna switch things up.
Do it.
The Horror Movie Yearbook podcast at horrormovieyearbook.com this week covered Maximum Overdrive, the film written and directed by one Stephen King, the only movie that he has directed. It's very good. People should go listen to that. On top of that, Gone to Texas is done. The season 3 wrap-up episode came out yesterday, and it was a good season of Preacher, and we hope it gets renewed for season 4. But go listen to our final thoughts there. And other than that, who knows when you'll hear Nick and I again. I'm sure it'll happen sooner rather than later.
In 2 years when Westworld Season 3 comes out.
That's the thing. It's either Westworld Season 3 or Preacher Season 4, or they are actually doing the sequel book to The Alienist.
Really?
What's it called?
The Angel of Darkness. And they're getting the cast back. So I think we will probably try to cover that as well on our Alienist Recap podcast. So
that's pretty rad.
That's what else is going on the Midwest Podcast Network. And more details at MidwestPodcastNetwork.com.
Cool. So other than the games I mentioned in the intro there, what else have you guys been playing? Anything? I have a bunch, so if you don't, I can talk.
I don't have much, but I can go over it really quickly.
Okay, go quick.
I played a couple rounds of the Battlefield 5 beta.
Yeah, what'd you think?
It looks really good.
That's it, though.
Feels
Everything
good.
else sucks.
It just, some of the changes they made with Battlefield 1, like the semi-regenerating health and like being able to spot everyone super easy, they took that stuff away. Now it's like, you don't heal over time. You have to get med kits or be healed, whatever. And, people can hide a lot easier, which I think is way more beneficial to that game.
Cool.
But I don't know. It's World War II stuff. It feels really good. Sounds good. I may check it out. I'm really curious about the, Battle Royale game play mode that they're going to have.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to ship with the game, even though they did delay the game till November to get it out of the way of Call of Duty and Red Dead.
But they said the reason they gave for delaying it was to work on the Battle Royale mode more, I think.
Okay.
It was weird.
Then maybe they're going to launch it.
Let me pull it up and make sure that
time.
I'm not talking out of my ass. But
I think it's going to be awesome in that game. Like, if any engine is built for that style of play, I would say that one would handle it the best because it's already made to support 64 players, and just having the destructible buildings and stuff is going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. It doesn't look like they necessarily gave a particularly specific reason for the delay, other than just we're postponing it, and I think that was in like an earnings call or something. But it was just like a 4-week delay. Which is fine, honestly. I don't think the later holiday season has all that much coming out because everything got pushed to like January 29th and February 22nd. So,
I mean, October is going to be pretty nuts.
Yeah, but like the rest of the year cleared out because I think people were like, well, we're not going to be ready for holiday, but we'll put it out in February. And now everything comes out next spring.
I feel like there are other things coming out in November that I'm looking forward to, but I can't even remember them. So.
I'm sure there are. But
yeah, October is definitely the big month.
Yeah.
And September, honestly.
But did you watch any of the I know there was a Call of Duty Battle Royale trailer that came out.
Yeah, it was It wasn't like real gameplay as far as I could tell.
Okay, but I think
But
they
it
did.
was-
It was details like 64 players.
Yeah, it's 64
teams of 4.
players, teams of 4. It's just like a giant ring of fire that's enclosing around everything, so it kind of seems semi-realistic that way. Like, not
yeah,
really.
rather than just a toxic cloud or
Yeah,
whatever.
not
in
not
Fortnite.
an electrical storm or whatever.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't think there was much of anything really.
Yeah.
Alex, what have you played?
Not a whole lot. I did pick up several weeks ago Picross S2 for the Switch.
Okay.
It's very good. What are you pointing at me for?
Of course, I remembered something else.
What? Well, hey, go ahead.
Well, I'll wait till John talks because he'll probably talk about it.
All right. But other than that, I don't think I have purchased or played much of anything else. I haven't had a lot of time. Just more Dead Cells, but we've beaten that horse. So.
Yeah, beat the shit out of it. You could say it's
So-
dead.
Yep.
Except it's not dead because Dead Cells is a great game. I've been playing the shit out of Into the Breach, like nonstop on the
Good.
Switch. Like every night before bed, that's what I've been playing.
That game can be so infuriating sometimes, though.
I've been playing on easy just to kind of get my feet back in the stirrups there. And I really, really like it a lot. My main pilot that I have keep going back in the timelines is like a total boss now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got him like completely maxed out. And I actually went through. I played a couple of timelines like where I just got to the third island and decided like I wasn't going to do the end. I was just going to do the third island, and just got smoked. So I just went back in time, came back, started over, did it again, did the first 2 islands fine, got to the third island, and finally was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to try and beat the game. So I went to the last level and did it, and like it scales to your ability or whatever,
Yeah.
which is cool. Beat it on easy, felt great about it, went back, started over again, and just I keep learning different maneuvers and like getting different weapons to mess around with to like figure out how I want to play the game. And the more I play it, the more I love it, and it feels so good on the Switch. It's like perfect. There aren't touch controls.
Okay.
I know you were asking about that, but it regardless, like it feels great on the Switch, and it just makes me want more tactical RPGs like that sort of thing. Like I would love if they could just give me Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Advance or Tactics Advance 2. Like I would be so happy. Specifically Final Fantasy Tactics, like the original one, would be great on the Switch. I feel like because it's a much larger game. But yeah, it's awesome. It feels great, and I'm really happy with it. I also, did you want to touch on that too? Into the Breach.
No, I mean I've talked about it before.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Did you get it on Switch or no?
No,
Okay.
I might eventually if it goes on sale or something, but I don't want to spend full price or pay full price on it when I already bought it at full price
Gotcha.
on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also I do this thing when I buy games on the Switch, and like it's always like it's gonna cost you $15 or whatever. So I put like $20 in, like on my account to buy it. So I have like an extra $5 to float
To buy you into buying another
to buy
thing.
the next game. You know, it's like I'm like
Yeah.
banking this money.
I do that too.
And I bought the Messenger today, and I bought it like with $50, so I have like 30 banked. Like, so
I heard the Messenger's really good.
it is very much like a traditional like Metroidvania, Castlevania, like on Nintendo style. But from what I understand, I haven't gotten that far in it, but it has like a time travel aspect to it where it goes from 8-bit to 16-bit,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is pretty cool. And I'm excited to get to that point. But right now, it's just like it's kind of brutal just because like the jump mechanics, like the way you can double jump by like you jump once and you attack, and as you attack you have to hit the jump button again, and then you can jump a second time. So it's like kind of hard to time those properly.
Yeah.
I wish it was a little bit easier, but yeah, it's cool. It's fun. There's a skill tree to it, which is something that those 8-bit games didn't really have. So it's nice to have something introduced in in that sort of aesthetic that is more of a modern take on it.
I heard it was very Ninja Gaiden.
Yes,
Like the original, not
it
the
reminds me a lot of
Xbox.
that, especially like the wall climb function
Yeah.
that you get like pretty early on, like is very Ninja Gaiden. So, yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to play more of it, but I'll have to get past Into the Breach a little bit more because I'm still hooked into that. Like I bought the Messenger, I stopped playing Into the Breach, bought the Messenger, waited for it to download, went back to Into the Breach while it was downloading, then like went to the Messenger to play it when it was finished, and then I played for like maybe an hour, and I was like, I just can't stop thinking about Into the Breach. So then I went back to Into the Breach for like another hour, and then I was like, okay, I gotta make dinner, and then I gotta go podcast, blah blah blah. So, but Yeah, and then the new operators dropped for Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
So we played some Grim Sky the other day. Maverick is sweet. Like, he's really sweet.
He's the blowtorch guy.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I don't like his gun because I feel like it's just I don't like
Which one
single.
did you do?
I tried both. I like the full auto one. I don't like the
I like his single fire one. I think that's the best feeling DMR in the game.
Yeah. I mean that's a gun that you would dig for sure just cuz I know your play style, but I don't like single fire like semi-autos. I prefer like full auto guns.
How you get a potato with one bullet at a time?
Exactly. You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's always been my downfall with those sorts of characters.
Yeah.
I did play as Clash as well, and she's fun, but I feel like she just doesn't quite have enough going on. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the shield is cool, and it helps you kind of hold out a little bit if you get stuck. I got stuck
She's
in a
kind
corner.
of she seems like she's a little bit of like late in the phase. Like she like it'll all come down to her if she stays like.
Basically, yeah, because that's what happened to me. Is like we were playing, and I ended up getting stuck in a corner, and I had the whole other team was in that corner with me. And I'm like telling the rest of my team, like, hey,
flank.
I'm stuck here with literally the entire other team. All you have to do is like throw a grenade in and you're good. And like
everybody died.
Yeah, and then everyone ended up dying. Like because one of their other guys went around and flanked and got them, and then they came back and they were all like they literally all surrounded me and started teabagging and everything. And I was just like, okay, like so much for that.
That all they have to do is just punch you and it's game over.
Yeah, and it
which
knocks,
is really annoying. Because I feel like the electrical charge thing runs out too quick.
I just feel like it's too weak.
They'll balance it out a bit, I'm sure. You know, like this is the first week release, but I feel like with these new operators, they've always tweaked them fairly quickly to be like, okay, this didn't work out the way we anticipated.
Yeah,
so.
and they'll need to because especially with the punching flinch thing, like Clash is like if we go off of character lore, Clash is like a riot police. Like a punch is not going to stagger her.
Yeah.
Like she should be able to
not to that point.
Right, she should be able to hold that shield in place and be totally fine. Like that's her whole purpose is to be like the front line of defense against like the fucking bad guys. Like she should be able to take a punch on the shield without flinching and getting shot in the foot.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense to me. And Maverick, like his blowtorch is like you can't fucking hear the thing, man. Like it's just like you literally burn a hole in the wall and then you just peek your gun through and poke someone in the head with it, like and they're dead. Like it's so cool.
You can see like little sparks, I think.
Yeah.
If you're looking, but yeah, it's.
But most people aren't.
Silent.
Most people aren't paying attention to that. Like they feel like, oh, a wall's reinforced, unless like we hear like Hibana's little pellets going off, Kairos pellets going off. We're not going to pay attention.
Yeah.
Or if we hear thermites thing, we'll look over to that wall. But you can't really hear his blowtorch.
Was that by design? Like, is that?
Yeah, he's meant to be like silent.
Okay.
But it's
you make very small holes for the most part before you run out of fuel and you have to like reload it.
I like the idea. You're used to the small holes, that's why.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like you could stand there with the blowtorch pointed at the wall and hold down the blowtorch button and just strafe left and like cut a line in the wall, and then like your whole team can just be peering through that hole and just like
that's a terrible idea.
Wipe a whole clan out. Like it's just it's cool. He's good. He's a good character for sure.
What
but
I was doing with Gladish a lot is like he told me to put a hole on the floor. So we would just put it on the floor and then lie down and peer through it and shoot people in the feet.
Interesting.
Because people don't look at the floor.
Nobody's gonna look down there to shoot through to hit you guys.
I had a lot of fun using that character. Clash was fun too, but the fun wasn't really from using the shield. It was more from her gun. Like I like her 2-burst machine pistol.
That's pretty cool.
It tears things up pretty good. And like when you are actually using her gun, the shield is on your back, so people can't shoot you straight through the back.
That's cool.
But they can, I think, hit most of your legs. And
Yeah.
But that was the other thing I played. We played that for like probably 3 hours or so.
Well, I hope to join you guys again soon.
It was fun. Yeah, we had a full
traveling
group.
a lot and shit, so hopefully I get to play.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that's I think pretty much it.
Oh, the new level's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, Hereford Base is pretty rad.
The redo.
Yeah, the redo's nice.
It's wildly different.
Like there's
doesn't
no
feel like the same level.
comparison at all other than the name. Like it feels as big as what was the one that dropped in Parabellum? The last one. I can't think of it now.
I can't remember what
Villa.
it's called.
Villa. Yeah. It feels a lot like Villa in terms of size. But it's not quite as confusing as Villa can be. So
Yeah.
but overall it's pretty rad.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's talk news real fast.
All right. So, I had a news story in here. Sony Japan is finally saying goodbye to the PlayStation 2. So there was a sorry about this little thing here.
R.I.P.
There's an August 31st deadline that people had to fill out an online form and get their PlayStation to the PlayStation Clinic in Japan before September 7th in order to get their PlayStation 2 serviced for the final time. But they are now officially ending service for a console that came out on March 4th, 2000 in
It's so
September
insane.
of 2018.
That's pretty good
So
customer service.
I think that's pretty rad. And that was probably one of the last PlayStation or last pieces of like game hardware that was like super solidly built, and it wasn't granted that you were going to go through one in the 5 years that it like was out or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I feel like nowadays it's like, oh, got to buy a PS4 Pro because my launch PS4 probably won't make it. Like that's how I feel about consoles since the 360 and the PS3 anyway. But the PS2 and like the Xbox and the GameCube,
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna work till the end of time. So
That hey, remember when consoles came out in Japan first?
yeah, yeah, that's changed too. And I'm glad
I'm glad I don't have to make my reservations at Babbage's anymore.
Yeah, I was walking through Oakland Mall the other day, and I walked
really?
past the GameStop, and I was like,
How was the
man,
Fallout
that used
cloud?
to be. There were more people there than I've ever seen in
Really?
the past several times that I've been there.
Wow.
So I think
Interesting.
it might be coming back up. But I did walk past that GameStop and was like, man, that used to be at Babbage's. I remember when like they had the shelves in there where they were just like 2 games per shelf on it, and it wasn't
Yep.
just a bunch of used Madden 98 or Madden 20. Like it certainly
man.
was a different look to
Those
the
were the
store then.
days.
Yeah, I used to go to Software Etc. instead.
Mm.
But I think they were all owned by the same company at some point.
Oakland Mall had a Babbage's and it had a Suncoast at one point,
Yeah,
and it was always across the street from Best Buy, basically. So it was like we could just cycle
yeah,
all
they're-
3. And they had a KB Toys for a long time too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that KB Toys is great.
Yeah, they had one of those in Southland Mall too.
Yeah. But anyway, goodbye to the PlayStation 2. It was a nice 18-year run. And
Sad.
I never owned one.
that's a shame.
I never owned a console till 360.
The PS2 was a nice console. Even the mini one.
Yeah, they
The
looked
Mini
good.
was the shit.
Yeah, it's
It was like, it was like maybe the size of like an old Discman,
yeah.
but it was a PS2.
yeah, I've
like
seen
it was.
It was the size of like the Sega CDX, which is crazy. But
It was like
had-
as big as my iPad, like a little bit.
It was
thicker.
smaller.
It was a little bit
definitely
thicker, but it was like a smaller footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool.
All right, Brian, this is one that you picked out.
Yeah. Apparently, no one had 100%ed Doom 2 until now, 24 years later.
Yeah. John Romero officially tweeted after
Yeah.
24 years, somebody has found the final secret.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, the secret on level 15 that no one could figure out required getting pushed into a teleporter by an enemy. You
Yeah.
couldn't just enter it on your own. That was the only way to get in.
You could stand on it, but it wouldn't do
Yeah.
anything. But if you got hit into it by an enemy, then it
Which
would
is-
actually work.
Really wild.
So and apparently it took 24 years for somebody to finally like document that, because people had like no clipped through it,
Yeah.
and like found the actual section in the level, but nobody knew how to legitimately get to it until now.
Yeah, and people just thought it was
Nice.
a glitch because of that, but it wasn't.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's crazy, but it's cool. It's cool that something that's 24 years old could still have secrets like that.
It just makes you think like, what other games have secrets like that?
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, Like what kind of shit are they going to figure out about Destiny 1 in like 20 years, you know?
Who knows? Those little things that the creators put in just to like, maybe nobody will find this, but it'll be fun when somebody does, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, Destiny won't be online that long, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. Probably not.
No. Bummer.
Yeah.
No, it will be, because all the people that are butthurt about Destiny 7 will be like, it's never been as good as it was in Destiny 1. Yeah.
That one will be called Destinies.
I feel like they won't have any more Destinies beyond 3, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
That'll be their 10-year plan.
Yeah.
Then they can just throw it away and make another game that's incomplete.
We'll do like Halo, and it'll be it'll be Destiny Infinity or Infinite or whatever. All Bungie properties end up in the same graveyard.
Yeah, and owned by 343 Studios.
Yeah. Anything else on this one?
Not really.
No, just cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool.
So there was a little bit of an announcement, a little bit more about Nintendo's online service came out. It will have cloud saves, but some Nintendo Switch games will not support cloud saves, namely things like Splatoon 2, Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu, NBA 2K19, FIFA 19, Dead Cells, Dark Souls remasters. All of these games will not have cloud saves on the Switch, despite having cloud saves on PS4 and Xbox One.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Nintendo's official reasoning was that they basically don't want people to be able to do copy glitches or the save scrubbing in Dead Cells that I was talking about last time.
I would imagine they don't want you to do that in Dark Souls either.
Yeah, like they don't want you to be able to trade away your Mewtwo in Pokemon and then just download your save again and you have Mewtwo back. Is kind of their reasoning for that. And you know, with 2K19 and FIFA 19, I assume those have some type of
I feel like I've been using cloud saves all wrong.
The sports games have like the Ultimate Team stuff with them, so you can like buy the card packs or whatever and set up your Ultimate Team. So I assume they don't want you to be able to trade away cards or like, I don't know, mess around with their ecosystem using cloud saves. So bit of a bummer, kind of weird that like most of those games support the cloud saves on other platforms. Maybe they wish that they couldn't or something like that, and Nintendo allowed them that latitude to do so. But yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would be fine if it was like, you can upload your cloud save, but you can't download it for like a day or something. Like, I don't know. Just figure something out. Because for me, it's just like a peace of mind of like, if my Switch gets stolen or whatever, I'm not going to lose my progress in any of the games that I've been playing. But
Right. I gotcha. Yeah, two quick other news points that I just remembered. Number one, in relating to Switch, they are releasing Civ 6 on Switch the day before my birthday. So if anyone wants to buy it for me, I will play with you until the end of time.
There you go.
And the second thing I wanted to mention was about the cross-play nonsense that keeps coming up here and there. Sony came out and responded and said, we have the best platform, period. That's why we're not doing it. So fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
And Sony, you want to know something? Fuck you. You don't have the best platform. You know why you don't have the best platform? Because not only does the shit have to fucking download to update, but when it's done downloading, it then has to copy. And then when it's done copying, it has to install. And that's bullshit. It's a 3-step process to fucking update a game. You have the most bullshit, convoluted nonsense experience on your fucking OS. Fix that shit. And then you will have the best experience. Until then, fuck off.
Also,
that's what I have to say.
Why do I need more than 80 gigs free to install an 8 gig update? That is bullshit.
Because they have
the entire game
only
takes up 60 gigs.
Because it's actually 80 gig update, and they want you to have like they want to tell you it's 8, so that you'll download it, and then it's actually 80.
And my auto updates still don't work right, even though I have it turned on.
I really wish that these consoles had more to do with like space management, you know. I'm one of those guys that was like, I'm gonna defrag my hard drive today because I really need to clean shit up right now.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do that on these consoles because like I feel like whenever I cancel a download for something that I accidentally started downloading from PlayStation Plus that I just wanted to add to my library or something like that, I always have that point in my mind where I'm like, oh well, there's 30 megs that are just gonna sit there with like garbage in them that probably aren't marked as trash and can't be overwritten by anything else.
Right.
So I wish there was something that was like clean up everything that's not actually a thing on my hard drive.
Yeah.
Because there's even a section.
And that's
you mean like
that's
you
the sort
can
of
do
thing
with Windows or Mac OS.
Yeah, with like literally any of the computer, you should be able to do this on all the modern consoles.
That's the sort of thing where like it just if they would focus on the OS experience itself, like Sony's not the only one. I think the Microsoft Xbox has gotten better, but the load times and just like how quickly how long it takes to scroll through everything to like the functionality of the UI is awful, and they just need to update that kind of shit.
Yeah, we've certainly like Microsoft I think has tried to update their stuff as often as they used to on the 360.
They just need to go back to the blades. Go back to the blades.
Well, that's the
that
thing.
was like the most functional OS on a console I've ever seen in my life.
They went from like the blades to like the Metro Tile type stuff, and now I feel like they've just kicked out 3 different iterations of the Metro Tile stuff, and it's never been like, oh, this feels fundamentally better than the last one.
They all just feel slow and buggy to me.
And kind of just got away from the tile thing recently too.
Yeah,
it's like
so like I feel like they have these teams that are working on that stuff, but they never really quite get it up to snuff. And I don't understand why it takes, years at this point to get back to where the feature set of like the OS from the Xbox One is now up to snuff with all the features that were in the Xbox 360. Like it always feels like there's that lag time in between. Because they rebuilt everything, and they're like, oh, well, we don't need that for launch or something like that. No, just work on it, and then put your console
Did we just start talking about Destiny all of a sudden?
No. See, we didn't even make, other than John's foreskin joke. You're the one who just shat on Destiny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Now, the only other gripe I was going to say about the thing with PlayStation is that when I was downloading my Rainbow Six update, the update had finished downloading, and it was in the copying stage. The copying stage froze. It completely froze because the system decided that Destiny Foreskin was more important. And I didn't even buy a Foreskin.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played that game in months.
No, you got to download it, though.
But I haven't touched that game.
You should download it, though.
In months. Yeah. And it decided it was going to download it, and that froze the Rainbow Six update. So I went in and just deleted the Foreskin download, and then Rainbow Six started back up again. And it was
but
fine.
What if you downloaded Destiny Foreskin?
I don't know. What if?
I don't know. You should let it finish and see where it goes.
I'm good.
But, no, there's something weird about the Rainbow Six downloads, too, because literally any time that any other game patches, the copying step happens like instantaneous for me. That is literally the only game where it takes
you have gigabit
way
internet.
longer. No. I'm just talking about the copying step. The copying step is fine. Like, yeah, it'll download quickly for me. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I still have that, like, it'll sit on 4% copying, 6% copying, and it'll do that forever with Rainbow Six. And it's the only game I own that it does that with.
Interesting.
Maybe it's Ubi Games because they're like updating 3 years worth of Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I don't even know how long it took me because once I logged in and I realized that what size the update was and how long it said it was going to take, I just shut it off, and then it was ready the next day when I turned it on. So,
yeah.
But
Anyways.
it's supposed to be downloading them without my say so when it's in standby, but it's just not doing it.
It sounds like there's something weird with like space being earmarked on your hard drive. That's why you need more space when you have 80 gigs for an 8 gig update.
You should just buy a second Pro and put it on top of the first one, and then daisy chain them together.
Layers.
So you
like
can
honestly, what you should do
build a
is
Pro.
you should use an external and copy all the games you care about, and then wipe your PS4, copy all those games back, and then it'll probably work like magic for another year, and then it'll fuck up again because that's how video games work.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's hit the topic 1 button and see what it is.
Donut County.
All right.
We've all played Donut County.
Yes.
Did we all beat it?
Sadly, I didn't beat it.
It's
because
10 minutes long. How did you not beat it?
That's what I was expecting because everyone was talking about how short it was. But every time I sit down and play it, I'm like, Oh, this isn't gonna end.
Did you like
yet.
put
You know what it
one
is?
thing in the hole
No,
and then
it's-
exit out?
He's envious of the hole because when he put things in it, it gets bigger, and when he puts things in his hole, it gets smaller. So it's just hole envy.
Plus
is what he
that hole
has.
can get way bigger than my mouth.
It gets
can
so
open.
big it can eat like mountains and stuff.
So we talked about Donut County on
I'm
our
pretty
PAX
sure I'm almost
episode.
done. I got to like the lab level.
Okay.
Brian's
Yeah.
the only person who can't eat a Tootsie Roll sideways.
I also didn't. Once I found out how short it was, I didn't want to rush through it.
That's fair. It's
'Cause
fine.
It's fun to just play before I go to bed and stuff.
Donut County is a game that we talked about at PAX. It was made by one man over like 6 years, and
Literally, all you do is put things in a hole in the ground, and the hole
There's
gets bigger.
Some small puzzles.
you
This-
drag a hole around to swallow stuff up.
It is awesome on the iPad. That's where I played it. It was
That's where I
the
played it.
perfect experience for an iPad. It was like $5. It's worth every penny in my
Did he make
opinion.
everything, including the music?
I don't know that for sure. The music is supposedly up on streaming services
music's
as well,
awesome.
by the way.
The music is
really
really
like
good.
The
the
That-
music is fantastic.
I want that duck quack sound for my from like a notification tone
Yeah.
on my phone.
I'm also disappointed I didn't buy a shirt.
Yeah, I'm
Should
happy I
have.
have one, but I haven't washed it in a while. I need
Yeah.
to do laundry.
The-
But yeah, Donut County is a great game. It's very cheap. It has cool little polygon
on
looking
iOS,
graphics.
it's very cheap.
It is very cheap on iOS. I would recommend some form of touch device to play it on because I feel like that's the best experience. I played it using a controller at PAX and it wasn't terrible, but it just feels better using your finger
Yeah.
on the screen.
It's
Mhm.
just
It's made for
super
that.
relaxing,
Yeah,
and you don't have to have your finger directly where the hole is.
No.
Yep.
So you can still at least see where the
Yep.
hole is just by dragging your finger close to it. Yeah, it's $5 on iOS, so there's no reason not to get it. But
And also,
On
if you install it, then
PS4,
you get the
yeah.
sticker pack for iOS, so you can have
Yeah.
awesome BK the Raccoon stickers,
I didn't
In
know
your-
that.
which you also
your
wouldn't
messages.
get on PC or.
Steam,
Yeah,
or
PS4.
OS X or PS4. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But it's like 12 or 15.
it's 12
on there.
bucks.
I think that's a little steep for this game.
I think it's worth it. I see. Here's the thing: is like this game. We reduce it down to dragging a hole around and swallowing stuff because that's what the game is. But like the story of it all, I think, while being kind of twee and cutesy, it's kind of an interesting allegory for like the gentrification of San Francisco and Los Angeles, and like it's just
yeah, I can see that.
it's a funny, I don't know, it's like an interesting abstraction of all of that. And I think that like there are not many games that make me laugh out loud, but
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of like the conversations and then also the Trashopedia, which gives you a little
Uh-huh.
flavor
Yeah,
text on
that's-
every
I like-
item
I
that
like
you
the
swallow.
Trashopedia a lot.
The Trashopedia has great flavor text in it, and it's worth reading every single one of the items. So it's for $5, it's great. For $12, it's okay. But I would recommend that everybody play it because it's just fun.
It's just a goofy game.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was a fun experience. And I don't have children and I won't anytime soon, knock on wood. But it would be a great game to sit down with a 3-year-old and just hand it to them
Yeah.
and be like, here, play this and shut up. And then just watch them drag the hole around and like they would figure out like, oh, things fall in the hole and like, oh, bigger things fall in the hole. And like I feel like it would be a great game to sit down with a kid and watch them play.
Literally, the only bad thing about this game is that it's too short. Like,
Yeah.
I wish there was more of it, but I don't feel like jilted
or
at
just
all.
like even if there were like time trials, like how quickly can you get everything in the hole?
That'd be
Like,
pretty
just
cool.
little things like that would be cool. But other than that, like it's cool art style, cool music, a fun experience. I really like the ending once you actually beat the game. I'm not going to spoil it for Brian
Yeah.
or our listeners, but it's a lot of fun. So yeah, what's number 2, Alex? Press the button.
Are we all done on Donut County?
Yeah.
Okay.
Press it.
We'll touch back in with Brian after he finishes the game.
Press the button.
I was trying before I came over.
Yeah.
Press it.
All right. Topic 2.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. So I got to play Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. It came out this past Friday. It is a Spider-Man game, and it's very much like
A Spider-Man game.
the Arkham games, the Batman Arkham games.
Spider-Man Zero Dawn.
I wouldn't really call it that, honestly. It's more like Arkham City or Arkham Knight. Like, I think that is the most direct comparison that you can make. It's got the Batman combat of using 2 different attack buttons. You got square, which does your like melee kicks and punches. Your triangle does like web moves with the combat, and then circles like a dodge. and your spider sense tells you when to dodge, and you can perform takedowns using circle and triangle when your focus bar fills up. All of that is very Batman. So if you don't like the Batman Arkham games, you probably won't like Spider-Man. That being said, the game's got a lot of character to it. It's very much Peter Parker. He's very upbeat and relentlessly optimistic about things, which is pretty great in the current climate of the world that we live in. There's also a little bit of that bleeding into it because J. Jonah Jameson has retired from the Daily Bugle, and he now has a podcast, and he's basically Alex Jones.
Oh, jeez.
You can turn off the podcast in the menu if it gets annoying, but I think it's hilarious, so it's fun to listen to. It sounds like the dude playing J. Jonah Jameson is doing his best Bryan Cranston, or it might be Bryan Cranston. I don't know. But
That's awesome.
They did have a very large budget for this game, from what I understand.
Gladish says in the chat, don't you dare spoil something important.
I'm not going to spoil anything important. I'm not far enough to spoil anything.
Yeah, I don't want
important.
you to either. I do fully intend on playing this eventually.
You guys know how spoiler phobic I am.
Playing two
so
things this week.
I'm not, so spoil away.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm about 15% complete with the game at this point. I think I've really only played for like maybe 6 hours or so.
Yeah, the Kotaku guy said the story is like pretty easy to breeze through. You don't have to do the open world stuff, but the open world stuff is a lot of fun.
That's the really weird thing about playing a Spider-Man game is that you get these different objectives. You can go and like collect Peter's backpacks that he's hidden around the city with like extra, or not supplies, but like they usually have an item with them where he gives a little voiceover and it informs a little bit more about Peter and the people around him. Or you can take pictures of landmarks, or you can like fight little crimes that pop up. And the weird thing about it is like when I'm going around doing things, or I have like an endpoint that I want to get to, like the next mission on the map, and a crime pops up, I'm like, shit, I'm Spider-Man. Like, do I really have to go deal with that right now? But
Damn
like,
right you do.
But that's the thing, is that like if you want to be as Peter Parker as you possibly can, you kind of need to drop everything and deal with that, because that's what Spider-Man would do. So there's this real like interesting way of playing the game of like, I can either do the actual Peter Parker and get interrupted by every little siren that I hear and go take care of it, or I can just mainline the story and not really play it like Peter Parker. So it's kind of up to you what you want to do. The funny thing is there was like a car chase that I was like, I don't have time to deal with that right now. I'm not going to bother. And then like the next actual day in my life, I picked the game up again and started playing. And then I heard there was a J. Jonah Jameson thing that popped up, and it was like, yeah, I heard that there was this this car chase that happened and somebody ended up dying, and Spider-Man didn't even do anything about it. And I was like, God damn it, I should have done something.
That's
about
actually
that.
really clever.
It was interesting, and you know, it probably, I'm sure it'll happen to everybody at some point in the game, but it was just this like, it gets you into that Peter Parker headspace of like, I need to spread myself too thin because I have great power and great responsibility. So I think they touched on that really well. The story seems to be pretty standard Spider-Man stuff. Things have kind of shuffled around from what I'm used to, because Peter's not like working at the Daily Bugle in this game and stuff like that's not a spoiler, so don't worry, Gladish. But like, things are shuffled around in terms of like who's doing what compared to what I'm used
Yeah,
to.
because this takes place what, like 8 years after he's out of high school, I think.
I don't know for sure. Maybe
8 years after he got bit by the spider, I think, is like where it takes place.
that makes sense. He seems like he's in like his mid-20s.
Yeah, he like knows his powers and what he's capable of, and it's like he's like in the thick of it at this point.
There's a history that he has with the villains and things like that, the people who pop up.
Everyone knows who he is around the city. It's not like it's a mystery that there's some dude slinging webs and fighting crime.
Yeah, but it's really interesting to see the things that they're like holding on to for potential sequels and stuff like that, or maybe later in the game. I don't know how things are going to turn out, but it's interesting. It's not following the movies at all, so if you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, that's totally fine because it has nothing to do with this.
But it is kind of in the MCU, right?
No,
are you
not
sure?
at all.
Because there's a Wakanda embassy.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Well, but all of that stuff is true in like the Spider-Man comic too.
Okay.
Like, you know, you can find, I think, Jessica Jones's law or her alias investigations office, but I mean that was true because they all take place in New York. So it's
right.
like but it's not linked.
It is the universe of Marvel, but not the MCU necessarily.
Yes, yeah, they're not. I don't know that they're necessarily shying away from using any X-Men or anything like that.
Well, they really can't use MCU though, because Spider-Man is owned by Sony. This whole game was done by Sony. This has literally next to nothing to do with Marvel, other than the fact that
it is titled Marvel's Spider-Man though.
Right,
like,
but it was done by Insomniac, right?
It was actually developed by Insomniac and obviously produced by Sony. But I think the Marvel creative team might have had more to do with it. Like it feels, I think it is more in line with where the comics are for Peter Parker right now, rather than the movies or anything like that. But
Gladys wants to know if it's good. Also, hi Barry. There, I said it. His girlfriend Barry said hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I think it's very good. If you like the Batman Arkham games, I think it's good. I'm not great at the Batman Arkham combat, but this feels a lot looser, so I'm better at it than I am in the Batman games. There's a lot of variety in that combat, and it just seems like a very fun game to be playing, and I like the clip of like, oh, I'm gonna go and do a story mission, then I might run around and collect some backpacks and fight some crimes, and then
how good does the swinging around the city feel?
It's incredible.
That seems most important.
It's a little like daunting and scary at first, but once you learn like the rhythm of doing it and how cool you can make Peter look as he like spins and like does tricks and stuff as you're swinging through the city.
Do you get points for doing tricks on the web?
You can do like, it'll rack up more focus, and you use that focus to either heal yourself or perform takedowns on enemies.
That's cool.
So you can like build all of that up so that when you do run into an enemy, you can just immediately take them down at the end of like a momentum swing, essentially.
That's sweet.
But and I think you can eventually unlock a skill that lets you do actual tricks and will like give you like 5 experience points or something like that.
That's cool.
But it feels great. It looks amazing on my Pro. The load times are great on the Pro. It loads way faster than like a lot of other open world games do. But no, I think it's very good, and
cool.
I'm glad it's out. And I'm gonna play more of it.
Sweet.
So
I hope at some point they make a like a runner style Spider-Man game for VR where you're just swinging and
that's what I was thinking as I was swinging through it. I was like, man, this would be horrible in VR, but also great.
It would be terrifying, but it'd be great.
Yeah, no. And
that's the one that comes with the vomit bag that you strap to to the bottom of the helmet so you can just puke right into it. Like, oh, this is so awesome.
It actually looks like Spider-Man's suit.
Yeah.
It's got the design on it.
The suits, speaking of the suits that they have are really cool. They have a wide variety of like movie and comic book suits. Every suit you unlocked has an ability with it, and you can swap the abilities across suits. So if you really like an ability that a suit has, you are not tied to using that suit if you don't like how it looks.
Excellent.
That's cool.
There's also like other suit mods that modify damage and stuff like that, and there's gadgets like impact web shooters that immediately like web somebody to the wall, or he's got a little drone that you can use to like annoy enemies and distract them or draw them away and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like a great quality open world Spider-Man game. I never played Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 or Xbox. The movie Spider-Man 2 game,
which was really good. Right?
That was like the pinnacle of Spider-Man games
Until
before
now.
this one. Yeah. But I've heard people that enjoyed that one are enjoying this one immensely as well. So
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
What's next? Press the button.
Number 3,
Nothing. Oh,
Destiny 2 Forsaken.
Foreskin.
Yep.
Forsaken.
Brian, you're the only one who's played it.
Yeah,
but before you jump into it,
okay.
I will say I listened to the Kotaku Split Screen podcast episode where they talked about Forsaken, and it makes me want to buy it. So you may begin.
I watched the Giant Bomb quick look, and the Gambit mode looks like a lot of fun.
The Gambit mode is so much fun.
Gladys said, "Okay, guys, I'm out.
Thanks for watching, Gladys.
See you, buddy."
Yeah, I would love to be up to speed on Destiny, but number one, I don't want to put the work in. Number two,
You actually don't have to put the work in.
You do though. Like I have to keep up with things and like get my gear up so I can do raids and shit. And I don't want to do that. I just want to hop in and play the game and have fun.
Well, I mean, like,
that's
if you
never
just
been what
wanted
Destiny
to
is.
play Forsaken and you got like the the Legendary Edition that has all the DLC or whatever, you get
which I would literally have to do.
You get one character boost, and instead of like the old way of just like raising your level and giving you like higher power armor, it actually pretends that you finished the campaigns for all the DLC and
it's like
and the original game.
Pay us some money, you don't have to play.
And it puts you to
play
level
our game.
30.
Yeah.
If you give us money, you don't have to play Destiny.
Well, no, it's good for people that are starting over, like on PC and stuff.
And that's kind of where it is. Like, I would basically need to pay $60 regardless of platform in order to play this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which kind of sucks. And then I also would need to pay more money to get the content coming out next year. But anyway.
Yeah.
How's the actual content, Brian?
Yeah, let's not talk about the
Let's talk about the story.
core business.
Tell me about
the shitty parts of Destiny.
Tell me about the story.
You are essentially...
You don't have to tell me the actual story. Just tell me how it is.
Okay.
I know the point.
I know the point. It's a ton
of
of fun, and it's definitely. I mean, there's still lighthearted moments, and of course, because it's Destiny, but it's definitely a darker story than before. Obviously, because as everybody knows, Cade dies in the beginning, and then you avenge him more or less.
No,
but it's a little more complicated than that. But it's just a ton of fun. Like you hunt down all of these barons, which are kind of unique bosses on themselves, and then beyond
are
that,
any of them red barons?
No, actually.
Do they throw any pizza?
There are no biplanes in this game.
No biplanes or pizza?
There is a pretty cool chase with some pikes, though. Like one of the bosses is
the rider.
Mobile. Yeah, the rider.
Yeah, that seemed interesting. Like the way that the mission worked, you had to use one of their pikes and get it calibrated. So you would speed boost around for a while, and it was really bad at boosting, and it like burns up the ground behind you until you like fully calibrate it. And then you have to use the guns to shoot things for like a little bit of it in order to calibrate the guns, and they like aim really horribly for a while until you calibrate it. So it was like, yeah, you can play Destiny, but it's even worse.
Until, yeah, sure.
I'm
really
being
so like when
really
you first get it, it's broken, and then when you use it more, it gets fixed, right? So the pikes are a metaphor for the game as a whole.
That's pretty deep, John. Keep going.
I can't.
Why not?
I can't keep my...
No, okay. All right. So the story is really well done. How long is it? What did you say, about 4 or 5 hours?
Longer than the Taken King, not
Okay.
as long as the original Destiny 2 campaign.
Okay.
It took me like 2 days to get through it all.
So at the end of Warmind, you were at level 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then there's 20 levels in this,
there's
right?
20. And that took, I think, longer than the story for me to actually cap out.
Okay.
Which is unusual for a Destiny game.
And I heard that there are new skilled trees for every subclass that you have, even the old ones, but you need to get an item in order to unlock them.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just hand you the first one.
Yeah.
Like Destiny 2 worked that way too. Like you got the first subclass and then the other ones kind of just happen randomly.
You had to work for them.
From what I understand, the item you get from an event that is in the Dreaming City. The Dreaming City isn't just a raid in this game. It's like it's a whole zone that you can explore. So there's actually 2 new zones in this one. And they're both pretty significant. Like the Dreaming City isn't as big as the Tangled Shore, but there's a lot of secrets and stuff involved. And it's incredible to look at. It's like the Awoken's hidden base or whatever. I guess
Where
you could
is
call
it? Is it in is it on a planet or is it like somewhere else in space?
It's
in the asteroid belt, I thought.
Yeah, you can see it from the Tangled Shore, but you can't like just fly there.
It's all part of the reef, was my understanding. Like this whole
It is in the
expansion is
reef,
like the
yeah.
reef. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that, but
Now you know.
But yeah, they do some interesting things that I'd rather not spoil.
No, that's cool.
yeah,
Don't
you don't
spoil.
have to spoil anything.
So how is Crucible now,
Way more fun
and why?
because they changed up the weapon slot system. It just makes it so you have more options. Like you can actually use shotguns and rocket launchers at the same time.
Okay.
Or if you're crazy, you can try to use 3 shotguns at once.
Did it like split the difference in terms of the Destiny 1 loadout and the launch Destiny 2? Like,
Basically, yeah.
yeah,
They
because you
kind of
can
took the best of both systems and came up with this, which I definitely think is the best.
you can
So-
still use like 2 primaries and like
yeah, they certain items drop for certain slots basically, but there are hand cannons for both slots that drop. Kind of similar to Destiny 2.
I'm looking
except
for a heavy hand cannon that looks like the one the Joker uses in the first Batman movie with
there's
Michael
nothing
Keaton.
that long, but there are ones that hit that hard.
It's like 4 feet long, and he pulls it out of his pants and aims it at the Batwing.
that would be awesome.
That would be really sweet, but
It's
yeah,
just
there's
a really
nothing like
long hand
that.
cannon. So what's the time to kill like? Is it better or worse or the same or
It's way shorter.
way shorter?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can solo kill like multiple people, multiple guardians, or do you feel like you still
you're
have to
good.
team kill?
Now the team killing thing isn't as common anymore.
Okay, so that kind of
Or, like,
answers
the team
Gladys'
shooting.
question of do people actually die?
Yes, they do.
They
in,
do.
3 hits with the hand cannon now.
Okay, that seems kind of normal. That's cool. Are there one-hit headshots? He's asking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not with the hand cannon.
not with
no.
the hand cannon. Okay, that kind of sucks.
The
well, I had other
shotgun
questions.
meta is definitely back for now, but I have no problem with that, honestly. Just don't let people get close to you if you don't want to play that way.
Are you super pumped now that the stats on your guns can vary again?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because every time I get the same gun, it's slightly different.
There might be a
So,
reason to
yeah.
not immediately infuse
Like I'm
it.
keeping like 4 different versions of the same gun right now because they all have different stats, and I'm not sure which one I like most.
I heard they also made the infusing costs much more like
Expensive.
yeah.
They
Is that
are,
true?
but they're not unaffordable. You just have
Okay.
to. It just makes you think about what you want to infuse more.
You're not going to infuse it along the way. You're going to wait until you like, oh, I can make a big jump on this
Yeah,
gun.
I do feel like it's a little high with the exotics because I think they require more master cores, and that's an item that's not easy to find right
Okay.
now. Like you get those by breaking down masterwork.
Yeah, and I guess that's nothing that, I mean, you know, they used to have raid
Typical
gear that you
Destiny
couldn't
stuff.
upgrade at all.
Yeah.
So
They brought back like the resources on each planet are actually used in the upgrades and stuff,
okay.
which I don't really mind because like everything just being a token was super boring.
Yeah.
And it actually gives me a reason to go to certain planets once in a while. Yeah, but they just like they added a couple strikes too.
And you do actually play through them throughout the story, right?
one of them is you don't have to actually,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
one of them is like kind of it follows the story because you go back to the Prison of Elders.
Hmm.
That strike's probably the best design strike I've ever played out of both games. It's so cool, especially if you've played the first game because it has a lot to do with that game. But it's still fun. I mean, either way, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know.
What
I
about
feel like if you don't mind spending money on Destiny still, it's totally worth it.
that was going to be my question is like all things considered and except for okay, so don't factor in your PlayStation purchases, but factor in like what you've spent on Destiny on PC. Is it worth it still to invest this extra like $40 to get this expansion in your opinion?
I think it's $40 worth of content, totally.
Okay.
Like there's still a lot for me to do that I haven't finished yet, and the raid hasn't even dropped. I've seen some of the raid area. You can kind of peek your head around it. It looks pretty wild. But there's also a lot of lore in the game that, I mean, D2 is kind of light on that shit.
Yeah.
They brought back, like, being able to find, like, dead ghosts and stuff. And
That's
all
cool.
the lore is actually in the game. And I kept picking up a bunch, and I never read any of it. And I looked in the lore tab today, and it's pretty substantial. Like, one item is, like, pages of text.
John's back in.
That's cool.
So,
Well, no, I mean, that kind of interests me because it makes me want to go. I deleted Destiny Ghost Stories from my podcast queue, and I'd be interested to, like, kind of hop back into that and see what those guys are talking about. If they're, because they had stopped making episodes for a really long time. So
They were like, we don't know what to do with like the lack of grimoire stuff. And
yeah, they
Destiny 2.
started Ghost Night or Fortnite Ghost Stories is what they started.
Really?
No, I made that up. But they were playing Fortnite at the last time I had listened.
All right. So in all seriousness,
In all serious here.
the Year 2 DLC, which is Curse of Osiris and Warmind, you need to buy those to play Forsaken.
yeah, which
Okay.
isn't any different than the Taken King.
Agreed. Yeah, that's fair. But I think they were on sale for $10 a piece.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if they're still on sale for $10 a piece. But
Okay.
at this point, now you need to spend $60 to purchase Destiny 2 with Curse of Osiris, Warmind, and Forsaken. That is the package that is now in stores.
Mm-hmm.
But you said you get a level skip, like a
Yeah,
character.
you get one that you can use. I
So
think you can buy additional ones, which is ridiculous.
So
but-
basically, like, for somebody like me who stopped before Curse of Osiris came out, but would maybe still like to see Curse of Osiris and Warmind content,
you could still go back and play it, I think.
can you though? Because I heard you couldn't.
Oh,
Like,
well,
I
that
think
could be
what
a
I
problem.
think what you said at the beginning of this is that you can, like, it acts as though you completed all of that once you use it.
Yeah, good point.
Like, I've heard that you might not actually be able to go back and play that content.
Do I feel like you'd be missing out on
You
much?
don't. I know you don't.
Not really.
Because you guys
But
both
actually,
played it and were kind
I
of like,
did like the Warmind stuff, and there's a lot of stuff they added with Warmind post campaign
yeah.
that really keeps you busy for a while. Like, I mean, in a good way.
I think
Curse
that's
of Osiris was kind of garbage.
yeah.
And replaying through that felt like a chore when I had to do
It's
it
still just
again.
kind of weird to me of like, we're going to require you to play this, but if you use our level skip, or we're going to require you to purchase this, but if you use our level skip that you get with Forsaken, then you literally cannot play the stuff that you had to purchase in order to purchase Forsaken. It's kind of weird to me and
Yeah.
a bit backwards thinking, but I think I'm in a weird position of like, you know,
I mean,
maybe Gojo and Nick are playing on PS4, but you guys
you
are
can-
playing on PC.
So you can buy the expansion pass for $20 with both season 1 and
they
2.
lowered it? Okay.
It's $20. I'm looking at it right now. And then you have to pay $40 for the
Forsaken.
for Forsaken expansion. Or you can pay $60 and get everything.
yeah.
My question is, if I buy the $60 version of the game, can I then gift the other copy
think
of
you
the base
can.
game to a
No.
friend?
Not the way
See,
the Blizzard store is set up.
that's bullshit, in my opinion.
I agree.
Like, why would I want to spend $60 and get less content when I could get it?
Well,
And
you're not really because you
but
already
they-
have it anyway.
But they should promote you giving that copy to someone
That would be
else to
that
get
would
them
be a
hooked,
really smart
because
thing for them to do. Yeah.
that's what I would do, is just do that and then give you a copy. Or did you get one? Did you buy it on PC? or
I
no?
don't know. I didn't end up getting it on PC.
Yeah.
It
so
was sold out, wasn't it? Or something?
Yeah, I thought about it and I was like, well, I'll see if it's here, and then it wasn't there, and I was like, whatever, I don't care enough. But
I definitely think it's worth switching platforms. But then again, it depends on who you want to play with. Like, I could see you if you did play it and you kept playing on PS4, I would just do those other DLCs. Just play through them.
like if I wasn't
Because
gonna
you
like
already
try
have
and hang with anybody, but literally if nobody's gonna play with me, like Gojo's already been going hard at it, I'm sure, with Forsaken. I don't know if Nick is or not, but there's literally gonna be almost nobody for me to play with on PS4. And that's fine. Like, I'm not heartbroken about it because I don't care that much. But, like, the Gambit mode did look really cool.
The Gambit mode is a lot of fun.
So we should talk about that a little
bit. It's very
bit.
unique.
But it would be nice to pick it up on PS4. I'm glad I wouldn't have to play through the story again with the level skip, but then I also would be tossing Curse of Osiris and Warmind out. So that's a bit of a bummer to me. Like, I wish they had a way to bridge the gap or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah, good point.
So, anyway, the Gambit mode sounds like the most MOBA-ish that Destiny has ever been. It's a 4v4, or it's a 4-player co-op where you're also competing against another 4-player team.
PvEVP.
Yes, PvEVP. And it sounds like there's opportunities. So basically, you're going into arena, you're killing monsters and collecting motes, and once you collect enough motes and turn them in at the kiosks, you get you summon your like final boss.
Yeah,
essentially.
There's more to it than that, of course.
Well, and yeah,
and
so
I can explain that.
At different parts throughout the round, you're able to cross into the other team's arena. And
there's a specific mechanic for that. I think it's like every 25 motes you add.
It's like it's at thirds in the bar.
Yeah.
And then randomly
afterwards.
Yeah. But and you can like either kill other team the other team's members in order to like make them drop their motes, which cannot be picked up by another player.
You
they
only
just
have 30
get lost.
seconds when you invade, too.
Yeah.
And you're automatically taken out if you don't do anything.
If you invade while the final boss is out, you can kill mobs in order to heal their boss.
Yeah.
Which gives you more time to kill your boss and win that round. And is it the best of 3 rounds?
Actually, when you invade and you kill the other players, that heals their
it's not you don't
their boss.
Okay, you're not killing mobs. You're just killing the players to then heal the boss. Okay.
You don't kill any mobs when you go to the other side.
Okay. I misunderstood
you only
that part.
attack players, and you can see where they all are, and they can't see where you're at. But you do glow in red to make it easier to spot you.
Yeah.
But like if you're behind an object, like
it's pretty hard
the team
to
that
see.
you're invading can't see you.
Yeah.
And they're usually very busy because Gambit's not easy. Like the enemies in it are high level enemies, and power level actually makes a difference in that game mode.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because there's a lot of different ways you can play as far as like teamwork goes, and I've noticed that playing with randos is way more difficult than playing with a team you can
being
actually talk
uncoordinated.
to. Yeah.
Who's turning in motes?
Because it seems to work best if some people just kill and the other people only collect
the motes
and kill here and there.
Interesting.
Because the other mechanic that you didn't cover is every 5, 10, or 15 motes you deposit, you send a blocker to the other side, which is a mob that when it's sent over, it spawns by the opponent's bank, and the bank locks. It
so you cannot
just
turn
goes
in
into
motes.
the ground. Yeah. Until the blockers are defeated. And at 5 motes, you send a small blocker. At 10, large or a medium, and then 15 is a large.
15 is the
there's
most
a gamble
you can hold
there
on to,
because like the more that you're collecting and not turning in, the more you can lose.
Because if you die, those motes
they're
go
gone.
to waste. Yeah,
completely gone. And the respawn timer is pretty high too, so dying is just not good in general.
Yeah, Jason Schreier from Kotaku was saying that when he and Kirk Hamilton were playing Gambit, that they were playing. It helps to have someone on your team who's just a crucible assassin, because when you can get that person over to the other side, they just slaughter the other team.
Other people,
And they were saying that their one friend, I think his name was Max or Matt or something like that. Maybe I don't remember exactly, but whenever they'd send him over, they can't see what he's doing, but all they could hear is him laughing his ass off while he's slaughtering the whole other team because he's just a crucible genie.
it's really cool. That's a cool blending of PvP and PvE.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, like everybody seems to enjoy this, whether they're mostly a PvP or a PvE person. Like I feel like there's something for everyone in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's still a competitive mode. But like people like you that probably don't like Crucible, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's fine. I didn't play that much of it, but
you would probably really enjoy it. Still.
How are the rewards? Like, are you getting
They're
exotics and
good.
things
Like,
out of it? And
I haven't gotten an exotic. I've only gotten one random exotic. I think they made it very more difficult.
is there
again.
like Gambit exclusive gear?
There's Gambit exclusive gear. You can get it by leveling up, and you can also finish bounties and get gear that way.
Okay.
Every single vendor I can think of has other than the gunsmith has bounties. Even Eververse, Tess whatever her name is, Eververse. No,
Everest.
Everest.
she has bounties, and you can actually get cosmetic shit.
Her bounties are you spend 55 real dollars.
No.
And she will give you some silver.
There's even these random bounties called scrapper bounties, where if you break down a bunch of stuff, you'll just randomly get one, and then it'll basically it gives you some random objectives, and then if you finish that, it'll give you more resources.
It gives you a bunch of other shit that you can throw away. And
I heard
scrap.
you can spend Glimmer to buy shaders that you've already received now.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're all in a collection system.
Yeah.
The collection system in general is...
So what you're saying is I can delete all the shaders I have.
Yeah, and you can mass delete them now.
Oh, you can
because
someone online did the math and it was 245 some odd years to delete all the shaders in the game right now or something like that.
All the shaders that have been awarded to players.
Some obscene number of time.
You can do them 5 at a time, and it's an instantaneous thing when you hit the button.
That's cool.
And you do that at the Cryptarch, because the Cryptarch is almost useless other than that function now, and you can buy engrams from them. Because when you find engrams in the world now, they decrypt automatically when you pick them up.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a great idea. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place.
Yeah.
But there's special engrams that'll drop once in a while that you have to bring to him. But beyond that,
I'll be honest with you right now. I would buy this tonight if it meant
didn't cost so much.
No. If it meant I could gift my other copy to somebody else. Because I already have it.
But you only spent $8 on that copy.
It doesn't matter. That's not the point. I've already spent $108 total on the game. Okay? $109 technically speaking. And I don't know if it's maybe if I go to Best Buy and I buy the paper copy and maybe it's a code for the base game and then a code for the expansion pass and then a code for Forsaken. Yeah. Maybe I can gift that code for the base game to somebody else. I don't know. If it offered me that opportunity, I would do it, because that means I could then give the code
else into
to come and play with me.
Well, do they offer a boxed copy for PC?
I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
The Gamers Club Unlocked on that still if yours isn't lapsed.
There is a boxed copy. There was at Target earlier today.
Well, there you go. Then that's less than $60. It'll make up for your $8.
Yeah, but I would like to be able to gift that extra copy to somebody else, because I'll be honest with this story. I've always been a fan of the Destiny story since day one. I love the story, and I want
it probably is different download codes, but we'd have to look online further to confirm that.
So, I mean, that's something I could probably just post in the Reddit forum, and people would answer.
Yeah,
for
or
me,
if someone is listening and has the answer right now.
Yeah, but again, the main drawback for me is honestly time. Just time commitment is very difficult for me right now, and I feel like this game is one that I have to put a lot of time into, because it's fun to play with your friends, and when your friends are all playing one game, you kind of want to play with them. And I mean, we went through that with Destiny 1. We went through that with the Division for a half second. We went through that with Destiny 2. We've gone through that with Rainbow Six. These games are so much more enjoyable when you have your group of friends that you play with.
Yeah.
And so if we're all I love playing Rainbow Six, and I still want to play it daily, but I just don't have the time for it.
I mean, yeah, I guess the nice thing about something like Rainbow Six is you don't fall behind. And
you don't, and
you feel like that with games like this.
Yeah,
and I feel like, at least when I play Rainbow Six, that it's very much like riding a bike. That even though I haven't played it in 3 weeks or whatever, when I pick it back up, I do a couple of warm up rounds, and then I'm back where I was, and I feel pretty good about it. Whereas you had a kind of an opposite experience. I feel like you took time off and came back, and then you just weren't feeling it anymore, but you still kind of like playing it for the competitive aspect. Is that
Yeah, I like playing it because it's fun to play with you guys.
Yeah, but that's the key to all of these sorts of games. games is like these things are just more enjoyable to play with your friends, and it's a lot of time commitment. And I just feel bad because I don't have a ton of time to play games right now because of my current work situation, and that's a huge bummer. And it's a bummer because we have this podcast, and it's a bummer because I just want to hang out with my homies and play some games, but I can't. So.
Yeah, the other thing for me is that like I would be more apt to do this if I could bring my PlayStation character over. Like I had guns and things that I liked.
Honestly, like,
and I'm sure I'll get more guns, but I can
as
always
I've progressed, like I've gotten to the point to where I left all of my old guns into the, the vault because the new stuff's just too cool.
I get that, and that's fine, but like it would still be nice to be able to carry that stuff over.
You get like a lot of the items from
Fuck
original
you,
Destiny are still in the
See
game,
that on the camera, buddy?
but there's Forsaken versions of them, which means they roll with random perks now.
That's cool.
So I found better devils than I did with the base game.
That's fair.
Stuff like that.
But I don't know. It's just like I put all this work into it, and to like throw it away.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
I felt like that. I restarted on PC, and I mean, within like a month or two, I just didn't really care about what I had on PlayStation anymore.
That's fair. What was Gladish saying that you were?
He just made a crying emoji, and I said "fuck you," and then he laughed at me.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just that's my biggest my biggest caveat, I guess, for buying this expansion is that I just don't have the time to commit to it. And
yeah.
Well, that's a personal thing.
I would rather be playing Spider-Man. I would rather be playing Tomb Raider when it comes out this week. I would rather be playing, all of these other games that are coming out because I know what Destiny is.
I just want to play anything with my friends.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy that when, I actually had a minute to sit down Friday night and roll through a couple hours of Rainbow Six. Even though we didn't do great, I had a couple of really great rounds. And that just made me feel really good. And so, yeah, at some point I can see myself picking up Forsaken, especially considering all the praise it's getting. But it's like I can't pay for it right now just because I can't justify it because of the amount of time I'd have to spend playing it. So
how many times are you going to say that?
I just have to keep saying it. Gladish says Tomb Raider is going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. I'm really excited for Tomb Raider. I've been meaning to actually fire up Shadow of the Rise of the Tomb Raider again and like finish that. No, I still need to finish it.
Am I the only one that finished that game?
No, I beat it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
good.
I want to finish. That's again like it's time commitment, and when I have like that hour to 2 hour span of time to sit down with you guys and play games, and everyone's playing Rainbow Six, like I'm just gonna play Rainbow Six. Like I'm not gonna take that time and play Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Just wait till they put them on Switch, I
guess. Yeah,
right. That's a game I definitely don't want to play.
It just looks like PS1 Tomb Raider.
She's got the triangle boobs again.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Destiny 2 sounds good. I'm glad it's good. I'm glad people are happy with it. I hope the raid's cool. I don't have any ill will against people.
I think what you're going to see is the player base is going to shift primarily to PC at this point. I think the console people don't want to be burned by it anymore. They're kind of over it. I think because PC Master Race, they're hardcore. They spend thousands of dollars making these baller systems that play games at like 180 frames per second or whatever. They're going to be the ones who are going for
the PC community is the smallest one
right now
by far.
Still,
yeah.
I figured it would have evened out at this point, but
not that many people have PCs compared to PS4s, for instance.
Fair enough, but I still feel like at least like the majority of the subreddit I feel like is mostly PC players.
Well, they're a little more dedicated to it, I feel. Like if you can sit there and play like Crucible and you can play 2 rounds in a row where you get the same people in it in the matchmaking.
Yeah.
Because the community is that small. But at the same time it's nice, like kind of knowing the people that you're playing.
Right.
They're all pretty damn good too.
But anyways,
yeah.
Yeah, what's coming up next? What other games are coming out soon?
We're going to pull up the Wikipedia. So, yeah, we got I think Tomb Raider releases early for like the $90, $100 version that comes out on Wednesday, I think, or something like that. but it actually comes out on Friday, I believe.
This week?
Yes.
Fuck.
Dragon Quest XI came out this past week, and I've been hearing such good stuff about it that I was almost like, oh, I got to buy this. But then I was like, I don't need to feel 90 hours of my life melt away in one purchase.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it, but I really wish I could. But yeah, NBA 2K19 coming out on this Tuesday. Just kidding. I mean, it is, but who cares? Yeah, Tomb Raider's out on the 14th. We've got, I don't know. There's like a lot of stuff coming out between now and I guess our next.
Oh, look at that! The Banner Saga trilogy's coming out to Switch. That's cool.
I saw that Dust and Elysian Tale too. That's a really good game.
Yeah.
I have that on PC.
So there's a lot of stuff coming out, but it looks like the big one's going to be Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So
yeah, for me, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and then I bought
Valkyria Chronicles 4 will be a big one.
I bought the super version, the ultimate version of Forza Horizon 4, so I actually get to play that early. That will actually be the 28th of September.
Oh, that's fun.
It's not on there. Why is
It's
it on the list?
It's in October.
Oh,
That's the actual release.
It launches
but
like 4 days early.
gotcha. Okay, I gotcha.
Which normally I don't do that with games, but with those, it's totally worth it because you get the car pass, you get both expansions and a VIP thing and like 2 other car packs. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, so let's talk real talk. We'll do some inside baseball just for people who are listening still somehow after all that Destiny talk. I'm willing to put down Spider-Man. I know Nick wants to try it out. I know Willie. I don't know if Willie ended up buying it or not, but I could hand that off to someone else while I play Tomb Raider. But
I honestly have no interest in playing Spider-Man for some reason.
Yeah.
So I will definitely be picking up Tomb Raider.
Okay.
I didn't realize it comes out next week.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time to game next weekend, but there's always the week after.
Yes, I'm speaking in terms of our episode that will be out on the 23rd.
I'm tempted to buy Tomb Raider on my PC.
Yeah,
It'll look nice.
It'll look so good.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get it on the Xbox.
Yeah, I guess I should maybe consider picking it up on the Xbox One.
It's going to look really good on the X.
Cause,
sure. I mean, it'll look good on PC, but I don't
probably
use
won't
my
have
PC
HDR.
with my yeah, it will. It just...
Will it, though?
I don't want to hook it to the TV.
I don't know. Last couple PC, like, Sea of Thieves doesn't have
Destiny
HDR.
2 does.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it sounds like next time we will talk about some amount of Tomb Raider.
Mostly Tomb Raider, probably.
Yeah. Maybe a little more Spider-Man if I'm able to play more of it. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Right on. Well, if you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGamers.com/links. The Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month and help keep our shows alive and well. Check it out at patreon.com/MidwestPodnet. That's MidwestPodnet. Thank you again to Jason K. and Gojo for hooking us up with some dough and being our top donors. We really appreciate that. And as always, we do appreciate your feedback as well, which you can send to MidwestGamers@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. Be sure to check out the other episodes of other podcasts that are on the network, Horror Movie Yearbook and Gone to Texas. Those are the most recent ones. Horror Movie Yearbook puts out episodes weekly.
Well, they do every other week.
And
it's usually with us. So
yeah, gotcha. So you can get your Midwest Podcast Network fix like in one day. Like you get for like 2 weeks. You can listen to us 1 week and then you listen to them like the next week, even though they're in line, or the other way around, however you want to do it. But you can listen.
Just binge.
Yeah, binge the network.
The entire backlog.
Yeah, there you go. Go back to the Film Nerds. There's 202 episodes.
We're
plus.
almost at 100.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're at
there.
92. We got to start thinking about what we want to try and do there. But
is our 100th episode going to be like after the first of the year?
I don't know. I'll do the math, but we'll talk about that.
Cool.
Maybe,
Anyways,
yeah,
thanks
probably.
again, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace.